My name's John Horton, and today we're going to draw my life. I was born in a place called Henderson, Kentucky. I was born on December 7th, 1999, and I was also born on my mom's birthday, and her birthday is December 7th, 1975. So me and my mom were born on the same day. And starting with Henderson, everyone was pretty much born in the same hospital who lived there. They were all born in Henderson General Hospital. And so I grew up for about 2 years in a house with my dad, my mom, and my brother, and me. We were in a married unit in a nuclear family. And growing up, we moved around a lot. We went from Henderson to a place called Cincinnati. And when we lived there, my dad was a manager at Office Depot. He was like one of their head manager for like 4 or 5 different stores. And because of that, he was off training a lot, so he wasn't living with my mom a lot. It was pretty much my mom did everything in the house. And I mean, she was okay with that until my dad decided to not be here or not to be away anymore, and he came into the house, and that created some structural some conflict in there, some social conflict, because my mom was always home by herself with us, so she had everything run her way. And then my dad came in and basically broke down her house of cards, in a sense. So he kind of messed everything up there. And then my mom, when I was about 2 years old, left, and she took us with her. She left my dad, and we moved in with my grandparents. Well, not with them, but near them in Bowling Green. And in that house, we had my aunt, and we had my mom, and we had my brother, and we had me. And we also had our little cat named Psycho. And we lived in Bowling Green near my mom's parents, so we were a metro locality family, and my dad moved all the way to Texas and became a truck driver. So my dad drove trucks all day. He drove semis and things like that. And because he was a truck driver, he was never home, so we never actually got to see him. But so my mom was a single parent. Everything was pretty much structural functional at that point. Everything was right and good. And then we met my sister's dad in this place called Richmond, and he was not a very good person at all. We'll call him Bad Dad because he was bad at his job at being a dad. And my mom, she was like really happy at first. Like, she was super excited. She had found someone who was like working with her, was, helping her take care of everything. And eventually it became a married unit again. And then we moved in to live with him, and everything became very social conflict, because me and him did not get along at all. And because of that, we were always butting heads. Our heads were always like hitting each other, right? Because we absolutely hated each other. And he eventually started making my mom really sad all the time. And that in turn made me more angry at him, because me as a kid, I had a lot of anger issues. And in the midst of all that, my brother did something. His name was Joseph. He did something he wasn't supposed to do, and he went to jail, and he wasn't in our family anymore, and that created a lot of conflict. And my dad had moved back to Henderson about a couple of years prior. And before that, before my brother left us, my mom became pregnant with my sister. And that kind of fixed everything for a while, because, my mom had a new task, she had a new kid, so she was, fixed everything for a while. And then my sister, Lydia, was born with like a full head of hair, and she had a big head too. So she was born, and then later after that, my brother, of course, got taken to jail. When she was 4, he was, I think, 14 or 15, and I was about 11 to 12 years old. And around that time, I was going into 6th grade, and I moved in with my dad because my anger issues got so bad. My mom just couldn't handle it anymore. But my dad's house was in Henderson, of course. So he lived out in the middle of nowhere. He lived on a farm, and it was not fun. My dad was awful. He was in a married unit. This was his 3rd wife at the time. And anytime I would do anything wrong, I was like instantly punished, like with no remorse at all. This one time I got a C in English class. It was like a C plus even, and my dad was like, nope, not good enough. So I had to do these things called suicides in the backyard, which I was a big kid, so it wasn't very good for me. So you had to run to the pole, run back, have to run to the tree, touch that, then run back. And I did this till I about threw up, and then had to continue doing it. I also had to, at one point in time, I had to pick up rocks in these buckets, like gravel rocks. And I had to hold 2 buckets full of gravel rocks and run up and down the driveway, so that was fun. It was very conflicting at that time. A lot of conflict, and in my life, and it did not end up well for me. And eventually I moved back home with my mom in Richmond. My brother was still over here in jail at the time. He didn't get out till he was about 17, and my mom had again become unhappy with her situation and left my sister's dad, who is bad dad, and she met who is my current stepdad. His name is Aaron. He is great. And so after that, they moved in together. We became a married unit again. My mom and him basically both wore the pants in the family, because my mom with me had final say, and my mom with and he with his son, whose name was Q, he had final say. Um, and yeah, so my mom with me and my sister had final say, and he had final say with his son. So they basically both ran the house, and it became very functional at that point, structural functional, and everything was pretty much good until about a year ago. My anger issues started to come back, just because I'm an angry person, and me and my mom one day got in a big fight. Me and her were very upset at each other, and um, I eventually ended up moving out into my own apartment. And I still currently live there in my own little apartment. I am almost never there because I'm almost always at work, but it varies from day to day if I'm sad or if I'm happy. But I am also moving in back with my mom here and on February 23rd, because me and my mom patched everything up and we're good now. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my life, you know?